Hello, 7th graders. We are going to talk a little bit about something called simple interest today. So simple interest is the last little section of our percent unit. And so it's related to percents. It involves percents, but it's a little bit different than percent of a number or tax, tip, discount, markup, and all of that. So first of all, you want to understand what simple interest is, or interest in general. So interest could be something like if you borrowed money from a bank, or if you have a credit card and you're borrowing money, there's usually an interest rate attached to that. And so what that means is, because you're borrowing money, you're going to end up paying a percentage of that money back. So not only are you paying back everything you borrowed, but you're also going to pay back an additional percentage of whatever you borrowed. Interest can also be something that you earn on something like a savings account. And so that would be the same idea. So if I have some money in a savings account, maybe the bank's going to pay me a certain percentage of that amount to for keeping my money in that bank account. So we have what's called a formula to help us with simple interest. And so formulas are really cool because they tell us exactly what to do. And so my formula is I equals PRT. Because there's no operation symbol, so we have all variables here. Because there's no operation symbol between the P, the R, and the T, we should know that we're multiplying P times R times T. So I stands for the interest. So this is the amount that you're either earning or the extra amount of money that you're going to need to pay. P is the principal, which is the starting amount of a loan or account. The R stands for rate, so this is where your percentage comes in, but you always want to make sure that percent is written as a decimal. And T stands for time, so this is the amount of time in years that the interest is being accrued. So let's look at a couple of questions, and we'll just go ahead and get right into solving some simple interest problems. So I'm going to start every problem by writing out my formula, because once we have that formula, it's literally just plugging numbers in. So you set up a savings account, you put in $400, you earn 3% for 3 years. So I put in $400, that's my starting amount. I earn 3%, but I want to make sure, so that's going to be my rate, but I need to write that as a decimal. So that's going to be 0.03. And then my time is for 3 years. And again, we're multiplying the principal times the rate times the time. And so when I multiply those, I'm going to get 36. So what that means is that my interest is going to equal $36. So because I set up this savings account and I have that $400, assuming I don't take any money out or add any other money in there, the bank is also going to give me and pay me $36 extra for keeping my money with them. And so to find my new balance, I'm going to add my account that I started with, my principal, and add on that interest I've earned to figure out that my new balance would be $436. Let's look at another example. So you get a loan for $2,400 with a 4% interest rate for 5 years. So I'm going to start with my formula, I equals PRT. I know my principal, I'm getting a loan for $2,400, and so then that's going to be my principal. My rate is 4%, but I would need to write that as a decimal, and my time is 5 years. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply these all together. And I get $480. So that means my interest is $480. Now, on this particular problem, this was a loan. So that means I'm borrowing $2,400. So not only do I need to pay back $2,400, but now I need to pay back all of this interest. So the bank is charging me for borrowing money. So to figure out my total that I'm going to owe, I'm going to add that $2,400 with the $480 So I actually need to pay back a total of $2,880. We're going to look at a couple of other examples where we might need to be finding a different variable and solving for a different variable. So on this one, after 8 years at 2.5% simple interest, your savings account earns $105. What was the principal amount? I'm going to start with my formula. I always start with the formula. Now on this one, I can see right away my question is asking what was the principal. So that means that I don't know the principal, so that's going to be my variable. After 8 years, so I have the time, at 2.5% simple interest. Now this is a little tricky. We want to, even though there's a decimal in that percentage, it's not in its decimal form. So we need to move our decimal over twice. So this is actually 0.025. And then I know that my account earned $105, so that is my interest. So some of you might solve this in a different way. But when I see this, what I would do is I would simplify. I know that I can go ahead and multiply 0.025 times 8 to get 0.2. And so my principal times 0.2 is going to equal 105. So now I have a one-step equation. So I have something times 0.2 equals 105. To solve for p, I need to divide by 0.2. So I'm undoing that multiplication. And when I take 105 divided by that, I'm going to get 525. So that means that P is equal to $525. So my principal, what I started with, was $525. And after 8 years at the 2.5% simple interest, my account earned $105. Last type of problem that I want to look at right now is a monthly payment one. So when we read this problem, a store offers a loan for $1,200 to buy a computer. You get 9% simple interest and equal monthly payments for 3 years. What is your monthly payment? This is going to be a multi-step problem. The very first thing we're going to do is we need to figure out how much interest we're going to be paying. Once we do that, we need to figure out our total that we have to pay back. So again, I need to pay back the amount of the loan plus that interest. And then we're actually going to be figuring out the monthly payment for that. So first, we have I equals PRT. And I'm going to be solving for the interest first. So I have my principal amount is $1,200. The rate is 9% as a decimal, so 0.09. And this is a 3-year loan. And so when I multiply those, I'm going to get 324. So what that tells me is that my interest, the extra money, because this is a loan, the extra money that I'm going to have to pay back is $324. So remember, I'm not just paying $324 back. I'm paying the entire loan amount back as well. And so actually, I'm going to have to owe this store $1,524 just for borrowing the $1,200. So we want the monthly payment. So I get monthly payments for equal monthly payments for 3 years. So now we need to think about if 3 years, we want to think of how many months is in 3 years. So 1 year is 12 months, which means that 3 years is going to be 36 months. So over the course of 36 months, I'm going to take this $1,524 and pay equal payments. So I need to divide this by 36 to figure out my monthly payment. And when I do that, I'm actually going to get a repeating decimal. So I'm going to get 42.33. So because this is a dollar amount, this is going to be $42.33 per month that I'm going to owe. You can also find the answer key to this entire sheet on Google Classroom as well, so make sure that you double check your work for other problems as well. Have a great day.